Alright guys, so time is now for a showdown between the Skaven, who are going to be led by Lord Skrolk, and the Beastmen, who are going to be led by Malagor the Dark Peacock. So without further ado, let's jump right into this match and have some fun. So as far as the build goes, we're going to be going with a very aggressive, just headstrong Skaven build. We're going to be using the Blades of Putrefaction in conjunction with the Death Frenzy, just kind of stacking all the buffs on a very tight formation. So in the front line, we do have three groups of the Storm Vermin, which are okay against Beastmen. They do have 90 armor, so they're going to be durable against pretty much everything against the Vestigores. They have 120 models. I mean, they're a decent like tar pit unit, and they're also a little bit durable by Skaven standards. So we're going to be using them in the front line to take the initial charge. And it looks like my opponent actually does have a couple groups of Vestigores, so it's definitely going to hurt pretty bad for the Storm Vermin. But to deal with the Vestigores, we do also have some answers. And so do we have three groups of the Rat Ogres. Rat Ogres have heavy armor piercing, pretty good mass. They can get in there and give the business to the Vestigores. And if we're stacking them with the Blades of Putrefaction from Lord Skrolk, is that what it's called? No, it's called Blessed with Filth. So the reason I call it Blades of Putrefaction is because I play 40k. And in 40k, when you're playing Death Guard, from the lore of Contagion, there's a spell called Blades of Putrefaction, which is basically kind of like very similar in terms of thematics, but it's actually called Blessed with Filth. So this is going to give poison to pretty much my entire army. And then we also do have a Death Frenzy caster. So we do have the Warlock Engineer. He does have the Mortis Engine armor, which is quite good in these like really pit fight style builds. And he also is going to be giving AoE Death Frenzy to my entire army, which is going to give melee attack, weapon damage, and immunity to psychology. So a big portion of my army will have poison, and they're also going to have these massive combat boosts to their basic stats, which should be pretty good. So Rat Ogre, Storm Vermin, Skrolk, and Warlock Engineer for the Death Frenzy. We do have a Pit Abomination in the back, which I think is one of the best picks against Beastmen. It's very good against Minotaurs. It's good against their infantry. It will struggle against like Spears and like Ungor Chaff units, but for the most part, it's good against a very, very large portion of the Beastmen army. Centaurs, Minotaurs, just you name it. These guys can do plenty of work, and they can also fight Big Daddy Gorbel. In the back, we have two groups of the Clan Rats with Spears just to defend against Centaurs, but it's really important if you're going to be going with a build like this to get one group of Gutter Runners with poison, or even two. Because these guys have 70 range, they can skirmish with Centaurs, and a lot of times you're going to be seeing like Centaurs harassing and cycle charging in formation. So having these guys with their snare nets plus their poison to kind of just keep your opponent honest is very, very important. So we're hopefully going to be getting some value out of those Gutter Runners. So for my opponent's army, he's got Centaurs over here, and then I believe there's another group in Vanguard somewhere over here in the forest. Looks like in the back there is going to be some Centaurs. Yeah, so no, Chaos Warhounds with poison. So yeah, having that harass is definitely going to be good. Skaven do buckle really quick to rear charges, so if I'm in a tight formation, he's cycle charging my back. It could definitely break your Storm Vermin, even if things are going pretty well for you, right? For his main army, he does have the Eye of More Sleep, so he's dropping some hot boulders, and he does also have a Warp Gaze. You can see here Malagor the Dark Omen is going to be summoning a second Cygor, it looks like, and that's actually really good against Storm Vermin. Storm Vermin are pretty bunched up, and they're a big juicy target for those boulders, so yeah, that's not a bad choice at all. Couple of groups of Vestigore herds and the Koroks Man-Rippers, so he was probably expecting some sort of a kind of a Zerg play like this, because Koroks Man-Rippers and Vestigores are kind of designed against Storm Vermin, and then also for the Koroks Man-Rippers to take down the big targets like the Rat Ogres as well as the Pit Abomination. So I think he was a little bit keen to my style of play. On top of that, he does have some Ungor Spears in the forest, Minotaurs with shields, and then he does also have the Butchers of Kalkengard lurking somewhere in the trees. And again, my apologies, some of these maps are really, really tough to see out. So without further ado, guys, let's get the show on the road. So the boulders are coming in. It looks like he was targeting my Storm Vermin, and maybe these guys got caught with a little bit of a collateral fire there, but he does charge in with the Centaurs and takes some shriek into the face. So the Gutter Runners able to throw their Ninja Stars and fend those guys back. And had they come in, they would have been slowed by the Poison Ninja Stars, and they also would have been slowed by the Snare Nets. From there, my Rat Ogres could really give them the business. So that's kind of the main reason why I think having one, at the very least, is very, very good. And having a couple is good, but I think going overkill on them is a little bit scary because Beastmen are very good at chasing down your Rat Skirmishers. So the boulders continuing to drop. I've been pretty lucky so far. The Eye of More Sleep definitely not having its best day. It hasn't made like really good square contact with my Storm Vermin, although I'm not sure if it maybe switched onto my Gutter Runners. Right here, he does decide to commit and try and come in and Alpha Strike these guys. You can see the Centaurs are going to be charging, and you simply just fall back to the Clan Rats. And the Clan Rats are going to take the charge like absolute champs. Yes, they weren't braced, but it doesn't really matter. And from here, the Rat Ogres countercharge. The Shurikens are flying in. They're slow. They're poisoned. And they're actually going to be taking casualties. Now that damage from the Clan Rats, totally worth it. We're able to really do some good work against those guys. So the mainline fight is almost underway. The Vestigores are definitely going to hurt pretty bad. Butchers of Kalkengard all are pretty much hard counters against Storm Vermin, but the Rat Ogres and Hell Pits are going to be charging in. And here comes the front fight. So the Rat Ogres are, not Rat Ogres, but the Storm Vermin piling against the Vestigores. And we're going to have a pit fight here for sure. So the AoEs will be going down shortly. Rat Ogres are charging in as well. Mortis Engine effects from the Warlock Engineer, and you can see we're actually winning this fight versus the Vestigores. We're actually going down a little bit quicker here, and there is going to be some AoE magic from Skrolk here in a moment. So the Death Frenzy is upgraded, gives it AoE, so 62 melee attack on these guys, and we just have a really, really messy fight. Over here, the Clan Rats with Spears are going to be intercepting the Minotaurs. They're still going to get plowed, especially with the Ungor Spears coming in, but nonetheless, they should be able to hold. And my Pit Abomination has gone up to the high ground, which I don't know if it was the best choice to go after the summoned Cygor. But we go up here, we go after the Cygor that was summoned, and the Pit Abomination is able to do some really, really good damage, although I'm not sure why he stopped the attack, but he should re-engage in a moment. On the flank, the Centaurs did attempt to come in for a bit of a rear charge to get on my Gut Runners. My Rat Ogres and Clan Rat Spears do intercept them, and we are able to break the top of the formation. So this Rat Ogre with the Space Jam, just flying Thunder Punch right there, is able to send those guys flying and do some pretty good work. Man, look at this guy go. So we break the top of the formation. The Storm Vermin are very healthy. Rat Ogres are in good shape, but here, it's a very violent affair. Malagor here is going to be providing his combat prowess, which isn't bad after the most recent buffs. We summon some Clan Rats in the back with Skrolk, and they're going to be going after the Eye of More Sleep, hopefully able to kind of keep it from throwing rocks, and yeah, looks like they're doing a pretty good job. But yeah, this fight is pretty intense for sure. We also do have an Assassin. The Assassin is going to have trophy heads and some other debuffs, including the Rival High Talisman, but the Minotaurs are proving to be pretty scary. The Rat Ogres here getting beaten down. The Clan Rats on the flanks pretty much buckled to the pressure from the Minotaurs and the Chaff units. And now, yeah, we just have a very, very messy fight here. So the Rod of Corruption going down from Skrolk, also some of these AoE buffs, and yeah, just all kinds of crazy stuff. Rival High Talisman lowering the melee attack of all these guys. And that's why this strategy is pretty strong, just fighting in a bit of a tight fight like this, but a nice AoE going down from Malagor the Dark Peacock. And the Pit Abomination has finally come back to the main fight. We really needed him here. And he's going to be slapping up some of these Minotaurs here, and you can see he does go after the ones on the flanks. And he's able to take out one of the Butchers of Kalkengard, which is always good because they do regenerate. So the fight is on. The Minotaurs starting to take a little bit of damage. Rival High Talisman lowering their melee attack. And the Rats are just kind of fighting to the bitter end. I mean, only 4 or 5 kills on these Storm Vermin, but the Korok's Mana Rippers are low, the Best Scores are low. I mean, everything is getting a little bit tattered. In the meantime, we do run Skrolk over as well as the Assassin, and we start to get a little bit of damage on Malagor, so that's looking pretty good. However, I'm now surrounded by some fairly elite infantry, and Korok's Mana Rippers, even though they are like a halberd unit, are still pretty damn powerful in terms of like a standard like attack unit with their 35 melee attack. So 35 melee attack and 39 weapon strength is going to be grinding down Skrolk. Malagor is able to run back because Bestigors do have pretty decent mass. Now Skrolk is going to be fighting to the bitter end here with his Assassin, but still not a good situation at all. In the meantime, the Eye of More Sleep is still dropping some hot boulders, which is not good. He's going after some of my Storm Vermin up here on the hill, and my opponent coming in with a very good charge. And you can see the Beast Herd has actually won that center pocket fight for the most part. The Minotaurs, I mean, everything is very beat up. You can see the Skaven, of course, being a much lower leadership faction, are going to be running in all which directions. So Rat Ogres here running, these ones are running. A lot of my Storm Vermin have ran pretty far. Looks like those are Clan Rats up there, and yeah, it looks like most of them are actually just dead, but the Storm Vermin up here on the high ground are going to be piling back down, and they're going to be fighting against Centaurs, which is a great engagement. Centaurs, without the Great Opens, aren't going to have the AP to deal with them. Here we have another fight. It looks like Lord Skrolk and his Mortis Engine team with the Warlock Engineer are going to be dropping some AoE, but it looks like this Warlock Engineer is in a bit of trouble, and my opponent is going to be piling in with a massive force of Minotaurs, Butchers of Kalkengard. You can see Ungor Spears, Bestigors charging in. This is looking to be very, very messy. Storm Vermin completely buckled off here. I had some Clan Rats and Rat Ogres coming back, which is going to be very helpful, but the Beast Herd is just kind of pushing onward, guys. It's looking a little bit grim because Skrolk is actually isolated over here. So he's just kind of being hit. The Warp Gaze has been cast on him. There's Minotaurs hitting him. Malagor is able to get some decent contact. He does have the Assassin kind of fighting shoulder to shoulder with him. And the Mortis Engine from the Warlock Engineer is helping, but you can see this like Beastmen herd is just not breaking. Even though I'm summoning Clan Rats, I'm throwing everything I have at it. But on the bright side of things, my Pit Abomination is still full health, and I was like, okay, I need to take out the Eye of More Sleep. Hopefully Skrolk and company can endure, because this Eye of More Sleep is very powerful in melee, and I didn't want him to have some big terror-causing monster just kind of give me the business here. So the Pit Abomination, I'm going to keep working on this guy, and it's really doing a number on taking him down, which I'm quite happy about. Unfortunately, though, Lord Skrolk is looking a little bit beat up, and I'm not sure if we're going to be able to pull this one out here. You can see Skrolk Daddy is probably a moment away from breaking, and from there, the Beastmen have plenty of mobile troops to chase him off. Terror Route going down, the Skaven Brew also being popped on the Assassin, which makes him immune to psychology, so I was just going all in. I'm like, let's go, let's hit Malagor, let's see if we can get him off. Trophy heads being popped as well. And yeah, it's looking like the Beastmen have a pretty strong pocket here. The Bounce of Power, definitely in my opponent's favor at this point. The Pit Abomination is going to be slapping up the Eye of More Sleep still, but he still has 2,000 HP, and now the big pressure is coming, right? All my forces have faltered. The Assassin is the last one standing here, and the Eye of More Sleep is going to be able to get some support from some of these other troops. So as far as the rest of my army goes, there's going to be a little bit of rallying. The Warlock Engineer and Rat Ogres and Clan Rats, and looks like a group of Storm Vermin, so not a joke here. This is definitely a decent little force, especially with the Warlock Engineer providing encouragement and Mortis Engine effects. I'm pretty much out of Winds of Magic, though. I don't have too many other tricks. So I pull back the Pit Abomination, I charge back down the hill, and I'm definitely going to get some good contact there, doing 400 damage. My opponent does charge in with Centaurs and everything else, and it's going to be quite a bit of damage on Hellpits. Now, Pit Abominations do have regeneration, but more importantly, they have an ability called Too Horrible to Die. Oh, and a nice little vortex there for my opponent, or not vortex, but yeah, whatever it is, called explosion ability. But they have an ability called Too Horrible to Die, which means when they get below a certain HP threshold, they do heal up. So we can actually take a look at that real quick here. And yeah, so when it's they're below 10%, they actually heal quite a bit from that, which is very good. So I kind of knew I had that. That was one of the main reasons, like, okay, rally back in, let's keep fighting, let's form this grind fest. The Rat Ogres are actually in a pretty good situation, beating on these Koroks Man Rippers. Granted, it's good for them too. The Mortis Engine effects coming in from the Warlock Engineer, Storm Vermin coming from all fronts. So 37 here, 56 right here, and you can see that the Assassin is coming from the forest. I was trying to put the moves on his Chaff here to assassinate the Malagor the Chaos Turkey. So right now, the Assassin is just sprinting through the forest, just hunting down Malagor. Hopefully we're going to be able to catch him and do some damage, but that Mortis Engine effect actually is doing a ton of work here. You can see it's hitting all of these troops. It is one of the weaker variants of the Mortis Engine effects, but it still adds up over the course of a long fight, right? So the Pit Abomination, before my entire army breaks, so you can see everyone here is just like, nope, we're out of here. We actually, man, we got everything of this Beastmen army so damn low, but the bounce power is going further and further in my opponent's favor. The Pit Abomination did get the Death Frenzy, but the Assassin is on the hunt. He's moving through the Koroks Man Rippers. He prison shanks a couple of them on the way through, and I'm just aggressively chasing after Malagor here. So I run up on the high ground, I use the trophy heads on him, and here comes the Assassin. He's going to be sprinting down the hill, and he should be able to get some decent contact, but just all the chaff units are just pressuring him. He's wavering, and it's definitely looking pretty grim, but the Pit Abomination still fighting somehow, some way. Unfortunately, it's surrounded by Minotaurs, and you can see he's slapping up some of the Minotaurs, but nonetheless, I'm having trouble escaping. I can't really, use my mobile tactics and go after the Cygor over there. I basically just have to start fighting these guys and hoping I can grind them out, right? As far as my troops rallying go, I do have some Storm Vermin coming. I think I have some Rat Ogres coming back over here. Not a whole lot. The Assassin is actually able to kill Malagor. Damn it, I look away from 1 second. So that's very Skaven, right? Anyways, like, the sneakiness of it. But he kills Malagor, and he's like, all right, my job's done. I'm going to be running back to the hills. But the Pit Abomination is very low. Bounce power still in my opponent's favor. Koroks Man Rippers are actually broken off. Minotaurs and the Butchers of Kalkengard are still fighting. And you can see we're at 1,500 HP. It is a very, very close battle here, guys, but definitely in my opponent's favor at this point. But look at that. These Minotaurs are actually wavering from the anti-large just pressure of this Pit Abomination, which is regenerating. And it is indeed hopefully going to be too terrible to die here. So now it's just the Butchers of Kalkengard. And yes, they're going to hit pretty hard, but this guy is, he's no joke. And we get an Assassin coming in with the steel chair. What a hero of the Skaven. He takes out one of those Minotaurs, almost breaks our leadership, and we are too horrible to die. Back up to 3,300 HP. And man, we are just getting so much damage on these Butchers. And it looks like the bounce of power, now that the proc has gone off, is going to go back in our favor a little bit. So the Beastmen herds are trying to rally a little bit. You can see here that the Minotaurs and the Butchers are broken off, but yeah, these guys are not going to last long. And suddenly the Skaven are rallying to their king, this massive Pit Abomination. You can see the Storm Vermin charging up the hill. Some of these clan rats are going to get rode down there in the back, but you can see that the Pit Abomination, the Assassin, who actually does have, like 400 HP. I mean, it's not the best, but he's holding. And still, it's a lot of bodies, right? A massive terror-causing monster. We're going to be pushing back up the hill. The Beastmen lost their lord, and the army is looking so tattered. Everything is wavering. He still does have a decent amount of troops. Maybe the Butchers of Kalkengard can regenerate, but yeah, the Eye of Morsid is running. Obviously, the perpetual pressure of the Skaven force chasing them is going to be tough. Centaurs do charge into the back and punt my Assassin, but the Pit Abomination is going to slap those guys up, and that's going to be it. His army actually breaks due to army losses. What an incredible back and forth game. That was so damn close, and yeah, it was like, I remember in the game, I was talking to him, I was like, oh yeah, it's probably over, GG. And then I was like, oh wait, no, it's not. The Pit Abomination came back with the steel chair and was just uppercutting and left hook, like bobbing and weaving those blows, and just so much power coming in from that Pit Abomination. But I really do like that Skaven build against the more bestial factions. It's not going to work so much against factions that can pick you apart with range, but against Beastmen and things like that, it felt pretty strong. The Storm Vermin, you saw we were able to put a bit of hurt on the Beastmen using the Death Frenzy and the Blades, Blessed with Filth, not Blades of Putrefaction, Blessed with Filth. We were able to do a lot of really good work there. We had a ton of juice on our army, and it might even be a little bit better if you went wider with just tons of clan rats, because then you're getting even more of a multiplier from those stats. I don't know, it's hard to say. I think the Storm Vermin are the way to go, because had he gone with Gore Herds, which are pretty common here, those guys would have just spanked them. So I think that's smart. The Gut Runners did their job. They just kind of, got chased around and were able to fend off the initial skirmishes. Rat Ogres did their job as well, but really the Pit Abomination was the MVP. And my opponent's army was good. It was a super close fight, obviously. It could have gone either way. Just a couple moments of just tension and intensity really determined the fate of that battle. So very well played to my opponent, Boyka. Look forward to running into you again on ladder, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the Skaven vs. Beastmen showdown. Have an excellent night, guys, and take care.